Alright, welcome back to Full House 7th Edition, where we are playing Vanheim. It is turn 32. And this is going to be a pretty important one. 2 battles on 2 different capitals. Yep, here comes the assassination attempts. So we at least resisted the seduction attempts, so we get a battle in all cases. It does look like we win one, because I don't think we have 3 Van Jarls on top of this fort. We also finished research alteration for mist form, headed on to evocation. We've discussed that plenty. We actually managed to finish the research in evocation 3. We must have had some work done there. Agartha brings out a prophet. Our dead prophet's power has left the world, so we can redeclare another one. That will be pretty nice, because obviously we are relying a lot on our sacreds, and so being able to easily bless them is useful. Very low odds here that our Tomb King, or whatever he's called, is not going to be able to resist this. He can't be poisoned, at least, so like that's good news. But really his greatest contribution is that he ate an assassination attempt, so we do appreciate that. Now we have a Van Jarl, who we very much want to survive assassinations. Oh yeah, I'd said before that we had bodyguards. This was a lie. I thought that we'd had bodyguards on our commanders, but we definitely didn't. So I forgot to mention that last turn, but we did fix that this turn. So a few of our Vanheers showed up. Vanheers do not make great bodyguards in like full engagements, like battles, because they have a tendency to take damage and then they go berserk and they leave their post, so they tend to just piecemeal trickle their way in, so it's, yeah, I don't love having them as bodyguards, especially since they're our main striking force, but we should have done this sooner, clearly. We also do waste, quite a few, well, I don't know, waste. I don't know if we needed all 3 of those lesser air elementals, but we use a lot of air gems in that. But we do survive and we kill a dryad. This is very important. I actually have not had to deal with assassins all that much, so while I've seen it in theory, being able to put it in practice is a whole different matter. Obviously, putting bodyguards on your commanders a little sooner than I did would be recommended. So this is looking like a pretty similar situation. I don't know if this is a full-size air elemental, so he's feeling pretty good about it. Let's see, this guy, yeah, he's 1 gem left. This could be a bit of a problem for the battle, but again, we're not expecting that much resistance in Pangaea itself, though of course Pangaea does have plenty of stealthy units, right? So, yeah, some units could have moved in. Yeah, Blessing, so this must be a guy who's out of air gems, so he overdid it early on, but he is the one with the stone bird, and he does have 1 bodyguard who, is able to hold off the bugs for a little while. Really, Phantasmal Warrior buddy. So yeah, now he's in melee. Shockwave, much better. I think we're going to come away with this as long as we don't kill ourselves with Shockwave. I will say, another round. How many more gems does this lady have? Actually, I think we might be screwed here. So that's sad. Yeah, it looks like our morale broke. Oh wait, no, we just decided to turn around to fight some bugs. So yeah, I don't know. It's anybody's guess. Ooh, we lose our mirror image thanks to our own Shockwave. That is relevant. You can see though, this guy, even with just the stone bird, misform. All right, yeah, we finished that alteration research. Not sure how much that's really actually going to help in this case, because the bugs do armor negating damage, and they usually only do 1 damage. And mist form will just reduce damage down to 1 damage. Yeah, so I think that might actually be really, buddy? Really? He was so close. She couldn't have had that many gems left. So that one doesn't work out. I think that was the 3rd one. Yeah, so we do lose a Van Jarl, and that means only half of our Vanheers are going to participate in this upcoming assault. So, I mean, considering how the assassination battles have been going, that was a pretty good result for us, but it was still pretty painful. Van Jarls are not cheap. We don't have a ton of them. We spent a lot of air gems on that. Speaking of spending air gems in general, here comes some elementals to help deal with this whole Demon Knight situation. I don't think the Demon Knights actually have magic weapons. Yeah, they just have mundane weapons. So, the air elementals are actually going to do pretty decent. You can see like that chews up some of the lance charges and keeps them nice and busy, and then we get some lightning bolts in and such, and I think this is going to go pretty well for us. I don't think we're really going to lose anything other than a few gems. I say that, but man, these Demon Knights really are tough. This is a situation, we haven't really actually taken any damage yet. We really do need that Berserk to trigger in order to deal with like these elite units. That is one downside, of course, of not taking any strength on the Bless and just relying on that innate strength bonus that you get from pretty substantial Berserker +5. Still, it does work out for us. And I don't think we lose, we lose nothing. I don't even think we took all that much damage. So, the usual affliction toll is hopefully a bit lighter. And hey, we have our capital unlocked. This is like one of the things, right? People are like, don't go Misfortune 3 because like you might have Demon Knights on your capital. And don't get me wrong, it was painful. And we did lose a turn of recruitment of Vanhears at a pretty critical moment. But again, if you're going to go for like pretty Hellblessed Sacreds or, you have really good thugs, it's less bad because you can deal with those most dangerous events, but if you don't have those things, I would be careful. So this is Ermor moving forward. They have like a long skirmish line here for their infantry. That's kind of interesting. They have their Equite out in front. Quite a bit of province defense here. Doesn't look like a fort. This is an awful PD type to be dumping, and Equite are gonna clean it up no problem. Ermor has kind of a rainbowy bless. It's not really going to matter here. A little bit of flaming arrows, some fire elementals as well. Yep, good Ermor stuff. Sad to be using the gems when you don't really need to, but you can't really control that. So Ermor is moving forward against Tianqi, and I think Tianqi is in quite a bit of trouble, so we kind of already knew that. And then we get attacked somewhere. Ooh, this is our thug group. This is a bit unfortunate. I do think this will work out for us, like even though these guys aren't really like set up to deal with, raiders or chaff. It's still like 6 Vanhearses with great swords of sharpness. I think they're set to attack large monsters or maybe rear. Yeah, probably large. Who knows? Some of them are going for the rear. Some of them are going for the chaff. But we're just not all that killy. So like we're not gonna, in terms of like killing a lot of units. But we are able to get their commander quite easily, and then they rout. So happy to be holding on to those air gems. That is, doesn't look like we catch Kailasa there. So that's unfortunate. But if we're going to have a miss, better to have the miss where we hold on to the province that generates a ton of air gems for us, because we're going to need those air gems pretty soon. And now finally, turn 32, right? That's what this is. We get out like our first like real kitted thug, the classic elven thing, and he's up against a good amount of, this is 6 PD, led by the Minotaur. I forgot about the Minotaur. That's going to be a bit of a problem, actually, because the trample will deal a little bit of damage to us, and I think it'll pop our glamour. So we really want to hold off. Oh, no. Really? He's not set to attack? Oh, no, he decided to cast a... Come on, buddy. This is mist form. But no, they love the Phantasmal Warriors. So that's the danger, of course, of just setting the AI, just giving them a cast slot. And that's just because we didn't actually have Alteration 3 this turn. So you can't script spells that you don't have researched yet. But you can tell the AI, like, hey, just cast a spell and then pray that they're going to cast the right one. And, often they won't. So, your mileage may vary. We do see off the heavy cavalry, though it is kind of the crappier heavy cavalry. But this is frankly the more dangerous part because there's just more units, and our defense is not great by Elven standards, right? We have no defense on the Bless because it doesn't really help the Vanhears, and we were trying to have our cake and eat it, and you can see like this is a lot of kit, right? This is not a cheap thug. But it's actually the same amount of gems as like the pretty standard layout, right? So you have the Frostbrand and the Vine Shield. That's 15 gems. We're looking at 15 gems here, plus gems for Mist Form, although clearly that's not strictly necessary since, we didn't use it for Mist Form. He probably would struggle against much more than 6 PD, though. So that is a consideration, right? Like, I don't think this guy's going to carry you as far as a Vine Shield and Frostbrand thug will. So in that sense, they're not the equal of them. But this does at least work out for us, and we are happy to be capturing provinces. We've been losing a lot of provinces recently. It's not the look you want. And then we have Femoria coming out in just a poke. I feel like there's been a lot of dancing on top of capitals this turn, and is hanging out. So yeah, there is a force here. I seem to recall they had a fairly painful storm attempt, but they were able to keep it locked down, I believe. So they probably will be going in again next turn. And then speaking of losing provinces, this is the Throne Province. Yeah, and so again, Pangea, Kailasa doing a good job of protecting their pretender, probably being aware of the fact that Vanheim is a nation that could deal with a lone pretender, and now they've used it a couple times. We might be interested in setting a trap, so they are keeping it with their large army, which means that in order to kill the pretender, we're going to have an army fight. And yeah, we haven't taken Pangaea yet, but fingers crossed, and then we can start moving our Vanheers to the north. So yeah, we'll see how fast Kael'thasa moves forward. Obviously, they were a bit cautious last turn, so they're not moving at maximum speed. But at this point, I kind of expect that they'll just continue to move forward, under the assumption that it's like, well, Vanheim's not going to show anything. Then, I don't know, be quite slow to scout ping like every single province before you move into it. And it's really no guarantee, right? Because like we can always sneak into the province after they ping it, so... I get it. Everybody, like when I play against elves, you always want to try to figure out where the dang elves are. But you kind of have to just accept that, well, could be elves at any point. So we'll see. They have access to the Horse Tribe province next turn. So if we want to dump the Horse Tribe and fight there, we'll need to make that decision this turn. I'm thinking we probably won't in favor of just having more of our units, although I think even if we do win this battle on top of Pangaea, there is stuff in here, sadly. And of course, we're only bringing in half of our Vanheers, although happily our Dwarven Master Smith does survive. We have quite a few bodyguards back there. So, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. This is going to be rough. Kind of surprised that there's no Swarm casting here from Pangaea. Okay, Panic, although we have Berserk, so we should be okay with that. We'll see. Fingers crossed. Yeah, they have some Thugs. No, again, just kind of, using them as Earth casters. They do have decent stats, so, but like, yeah, giving them a little gear I think would have helped out quite a bit. I do think we're going to come away with this, although this is their Pretender? No, this looks like a hero. So, yeah, feeling pretty good about this. We're not out of the woods just yet. All right, yeah, we got it. Cool. Probably should have done that, 3-4 turns ago, however long I delayed attacking Pangaea's capital. That absolutely was a major mistake. But again, hindsight 2020. We actually only lose 4 Vanherses, but we definitely take damage, right? The affliction toll was definitely present there, and we clean out the majority of what Pangaea has left. They do have that other fort, so we need to think about what kind of defenses we want to leave behind in Pangaea itself. But obviously we want to send the majority of our stuff north to try to deal with what Kael'thasa is sending at us. Find 7 nature gems. That's actually a really nice event considering our scales. The Necromancer is defeated. Good work, whoever that was. We're not pro Necromancer here at Vanheim. And then we lose a scout somewhere. We do have a lot of scouts on top of a variety of Kael'thasa's forts. They're already making corpse constructs. That's pretty cool. I guess corpse constructs are pretty early. Not really sure where they're getting the air death from. Maybe they're bone reader right here. That's a nice independent find, and they're making good use of it. We would not love to go up against a bunch of corpse constructs, but we do have a lot of shock resistance on our bless, so that's not great news, but also not terrible news. I guess we had seen a stack of those before, so kind of not news at all. And we did manage to buy some mercenaries. I think I forgot to mention that. Yeah, we're gonna need help, so maybe we will make the stand at the Horse Tribe. I will decide after the jump. All right, this was the situation and what we did about it. First and foremost, it looks like we have decided to utilize that Horse Tribe. So we've dumped to 21 province defense, not the biggest province defense dump, but more or less what we can afford. Yeah, decent province defense type will help us. This is what we're bringing to the table, so we also have some additional archer support from these mercenaries, and then of course a good chunk of Vanheers, not as many as we'd like. There's still quite a few down at Pangaea, but not much that can be done about that. We even have a few regular elven troops mixed in here. Then we've also brought out some serfs, mostly for Soulslay chaff. We also have a few ogres here. Yeah, I think just 13 ogres. No, more than that. So, getting close to 20 ogres. So from a Soulslay standpoint, I think we have enough mines here that our elven troops should mostly be unaffected by those. And we hopefully have enough arrow bait in the form of our mercenary archers as well as our province defense. In terms of the killing blow, of course, the Vanheers should be able to clean up a lot of the troops there. And then we are bringing in, quite a few elementals, mostly air elementals, a few earth elementals, getting some legions of steel in there. Also going to be having some advance and cast, lightning bolts, things like that. Even throwing out some Lamashtas, which not really a spell that I love. This is definitely a sign of desperation. But, hey, let's give it a shot. We're even, speaking of desperation, we're bringing the Pretender out. No armor on this fellow, which is definitely terrifying at the time and terrifying in retrospective, particularly because, a good chunk of our bless is incarnate. So if he dies, then the Blessed dies. Of course, the big question mark is whether or not we're going to be able to get the Pretender. So, I mean, we've brought the kill squad, but if the Pretender moves out alone, hopefully the kill squad can do its job. In some ways, that would be ideal. If it moves out with the army, like it has been moving, then there's a chance that we just get it to HP route based off of army losses. Though it is a Berserker, so pretty good chance that we're going to need to deal with it no matter what happens. And yeah, we'll see if this is enough. They are all at least going to have flight, but there's a decent chance that at least some of them will not connect with the Pretender if it moves out with the army, and a decent chance that they die during the army fight. So we may not have all 6, actually at any point wailing on the Pretender, which could be rough. Of course, the river has frozen, so Kael'thasa does actually have the option to move into attack us in this other province. So it's kind of, 50-50. Obviously, they could sit still. They could move into this province they already own. Sitting still is possible. Moving into a province they already own seems pretty unlikely. Speaking of which, we're actually going to raid that with another one of our thugs. We've actually got, I think, 3 thugs here. We have another thug that's raiding the Pangean territory, all the same kind of kit, although only our earliest fellow down here has any air gems for mist form. Since we did see, he didn't end up even using them. He did manage to take the province, and we're out of air gems right now. We've deployed them all. So if these guys can handle it without air gems and mist form, excellent. Those will probably be the only thugs, at least for a little while, because, we're deploying all the mages. No, we still have one. No, okay, we're still minting. Yeah, so we've left 3 dwarves behind, so I take that back. We are still minting thugs, which is good, because we need them to take territory. The other big thing is we're just going to hang out in Pangaea, patrol, hopefully, eliminate any dryads that are trying to sneak onto Pangaea and assassinate us. And I think the calculus here is, by the time this stack gets home, particularly since it's probably, this mountain pass is open, though we are headed into winter, so pretty good chance that it's going to close next turn. And it'll take us a while, right, to move back up to the capital. Kind of expecting this whole situation to be resolved, one way or the other before they get home. Also, really would not like to give up Pangaea. Now we really only have like one commander. I guess old Tomb Shadow here theoretically could lead out the Vanhears, but of course he can't bless them. So we can't really effectively split this. So it's either we hang out here or we all head back. Really would not like to give up Pangaea. I don't think Pangaea has a lot left, but they have a decent number of units here, like certainly enough units that could crack an empty fort. So at least for the moment, we're going to hang out, see if we can catch some dryads. There is also some unrest here, and we would like to get as much income as possible. And I think that more or less covers it in terms of what we're up to. We are sending a thug kind of over towards Kael'thasa's territory, probably with an eye to raid back territory they've captured from us, but maybe to do some deep raiding, though that is looking like it might be a bit dangerous. This is actually a blood hunting province where we lost this scout. I'm assuming this is a summon. I don't think Kael'thasa can recruit these. But yeah, it's a blood 3, maybe a hero. Yeah, I don't know. Not super familiar with Kael'thasa, but they're not normally like a blood power. And I guess it's not too early, but I mean, still, for a non-blood power to be blood hunting at this point, that's a little concerning. This placement also feels like probably not an accident. This isn't technically a border, but it is an area that we might try to sneak into their territory. So maybe chosen for other reasons, but also maybe doubling as, preventing elves from sneaking into their territory. In terms of the wider world, we do see that Ermor is sieging Tianqi's capital, so we're headed, sending a scout over there. I'm expecting this Ermorian army to head over there, so hopefully we'll catch whatever's going on there. Still have a scout hanging out on top of Abyssea's capital since there was a lot of fighting there. But, so far it looks like, situation is not changing, at least for the moment. And, of course, Calum is back on top of Arcocephales' capital. Not cracked, though. Very happy about that. Hopefully they continue to fail there. And Fomoria's capital is cracked, though has been, very cautious. And they did have that one failure. So, yeah, we'll see if they go in immediately. And I think that more or less covers it in terms of what we know about the wider world. Yeah, our research target's more or less the same. You can see that research has essentially halted as we deploy more or less every mage that we have in a bid to stop this Kael'thasan force. And I think that more or less covers turn 32.